First thing would be to do an 80-20 analysis of both profits, so not just revenues, but profits, and then also time consumption. So what that means is you would identify the 20% of products or services that produce 80% of or more of your profit, which will generally be the case. That's the first step, is identifying which products and services are really producing disproportionately your profits. And then secondly, identifying the 20% of activities that are consuming 80% or more of your time. And surprisingly, there's usually very little overlap. So you find that you have high profit, low maintenance activities or products or services, and then you have very high maintenance, low profit activities that are often administrative. And you can either eliminate those or automate them or delegate them in the case of personal outsourcing. So those, in broad strokes, are usually the first two steps that I recommend business owners take. Now, the key to the 80-20 principle, doing any type of selective pairing where you're cutting the fat but still multiplying output, is dependent on measurement. So you need to choose the right types of measurement. So you can do that a few different ways. Looking at profit instead of pure revenue, for example, depends a lot on, well, first of all, if you're an employee, is understanding how your value is measured. So if it's based on a performance review that's done quarterly, what are the specific measurements? Are they qualitative? Are they quantitative? How do you affect those things? Understanding where you fit into the company, how you deliver profit to the bottom line or reduce expenses so that you can measure that. If your boss doesn't have good measurements for your performance, create your own measurements. Whether that's number of billable client hours, number of projects turned around per 48-hour period, create your own metrics so you can actually document and demonstrate that you're improving your output over time. Because really what you need to demonstrate if you're an employee is, and this all applies to small business, is why it is less expensive to keep you than it is to fire you. I think that if most people who are experts in any given field were as honest with most people, with their audiences, with the media, as they are with their friends after 2 or 3 drinks, that they would get a lot of press, honestly. So you really want to present, you don't want to go out of your way to offend people, but you don't want to go out of your way not to offend people. So my messages tend to polarize people. And I think that's very strong. It's a very strong asset in a digital world, because when you polarize people, you have people either love or hate your message, completely agree or completely disagree. It creates discussion online. It creates debate. And that ends up creating links. And that ends up leading to what most people would consider mainstream media coverage. So you can also layer your promotion to one channel. So when my book was about to launch, I realized that I didn't have access to many of the major media journalists or what have you. So I focused on creating so much noise online in a specific subset of blogs, so that then print newspapers would pick up the story. That would lead to radio. Both of those would then lead to long lead media, meaning magazines, and then all of that combined would create enough noise to lead to television, which is exactly what happened. You have to have a very strong idea of what you are not to establish a brand. And a brand, I think that this is a very ambiguous term for most people. A brand is very simple. It's what people associate you with. What image, what story, what products, what benefits, what experiences people associate you with. That's all a brand is. And to do that, I think you should target to be very narrow. Most brands, most people, most companies want to be for everyone. When you state very clearly who isn't your customer, it sets you apart very starkly and also creates more debate. You can't create discussion without having people criticize you or attack you. You can't. So if you want to create a brand both online and offline. And the reality is, if you want to create a brand anywhere, you're probably going to have to contend with managing that brand online. You must realize that to get any degree of notice, it's just a matter of time before you amass exposure to, let's just say, a critical mass of people, 10,000, 100,000. Not all of those people are going to like you, but the internet gives every single one of those people an equal voice in most cases. So you're going to see and read a lot of things that are probably going to ruin your day. It's just going to happen. What's important is not how many people don't get your message, because there will be a lot. What's important is how many people do get your message. And if that number provides the inertia for you to accomplish what you want to accomplish, then you should be satisfied with that. Trying to prevent bad things from happening or trying to prevent people from being upset, more specifically, is a very, very unscalable approach to time and priority management. Meaning that many different Fortune 500 CEOs and executives I've spoken with have made it clear to me that the one path to complete lack of productivity is trying to make everyone else happy. So what does this mean? This means that you have to recognize that you need to make certain other people wait, allow certain small priorities to fail, to postpone certain deadlines so that you can achieve the big milestones and complete the larger projects that will completely change the way that you lead your life or that your business functions. If I had to choose one thing, which I think is true for almost everyone and will continue to be true for me, is just saying no to people. Saying no, I'm not interested, or no, I'm not going to do that, to requests that are abusive of my time, irrelevant to the few critical objectives that I'd set for myself. It's very hard. Most people want to be nice. They want to be seen as nice. And the fact of the matter is that you cannot prevent people from taking it personally when they propose something that's irrelevant or unrelated to your job description, and you reject it. You cannot prevent them from taking it personally. And that's hard for people to get used to. So I think you have fundamentally two types of business owner. And now, so I'm using the term owner, which is important. You have people who want any customer and every customer, which makes marketing very expensive, and it makes running that business, administration of that business, a complete nightmare, because you end up with very high maintenance customers. Or you have people who choose their customers and actively fire, essentially, the customers who don't fit the profile of their ideal customer. Meaning, if you look at Steve Jobs, customer's always right? No way. He doesn't ask customers what they want necessarily. He doesn't believe they know what they want until they're actually shown it. Henry Ford, same example. You can have any color you want as long as it's black. I'm not saying that that is the only approach you can take, but the fact of the matter is, if you provide a service or a product at a fair price that is of good value, people will buy it. And that you do, as an entrepreneur, have the ability to choose which type of customer you want. And by doing the 80-20 analysis, among other things, you'll realize that there are generally low maintenance, high profit customers and low profit, high maintenance customers. And it's difficult, I think, to run a business that tries to appeal to both of those segments of the population.